Okay, good morning, y'all. How are you on this spring day?
Great.
Yeah, woohoo! Not quite yet spring, but we're sure getting there. The grass is green, the birds are chirping. I'm excited. I don't know about you, but looks like spring is actually going to come. That's so exciting. Thanks for welcoming me back again. As you recall, my name is Susan Jordan. I'm doing a grant with the health department on public education related to healthy lifestyles. So, does anybody remember what we talked about last time I was here?
Water.
Water! Woohoo! Are you drinking more water? Do you think of me when you drink water?
I don't know.
Don't know how that donut hole plays into drinking water, but so I really hope you got something out of last month's when I was here, and maybe you've adopted a new healthy lifestyle. That's the whole point of what I'm trying to do, is just make a small impact, but because little things can make big changes in how you're feeling and your overall health. So thanks so much for that. But today I'm also going to talk about our topic of the month, but then I'm going to put you to work a little bit for me, and I'm going to have you do what we call a needs assessment. And I want you to tell me what topics you'd like me to talk about. Because I can come every month and talk at you, and if it's something you don't want to hear, it's not going to make much impact, is it? So I've come up with just some list of ideas of things that I'd like you to give me some feedback on, and tell me whether you're interested. So we're going to do that at the end of what we're doing today. We'll take about the last 5 minutes. Because I have a feeling that the subject I'm talking about today, that I might be preaching to the choir. So this is my theory. I'm going to see how it works out, okay? The topic of the month is recycling, because Earth Day is Sunday, right? Earth Day is Sunday, and we celebrate in any number of ways, but many people recycle or pick up trash or plant a tree, things like that for Earth Day. Who here recycles at home? See, this is my theory. Almost everybody. It's interesting to me, when I go to the recycle center, I see a lot of people in my age group and or older. I don't see a lot of young families there at the recycle center. So part of my theory is that it's the generation of the disposable generation are the ones that aren't recycling, meaning those young families at home. So I just did a program at the Boys and Girls Club yesterday, and I'm actually going back on Monday, and we're going to be doing some more programming with them about recycling for that very reason. Why do you think I'd even be talking about recycling as it relates to healthy living? Landfills? What about the landfills? What about the landfills?
Go somewhere.
Yeah, and all the trash has to go somewhere, doesn't it? And our landfills, eventually, we're all going to be living on a big landfill if we don't do something about it, right? We just keep putting more and more. Guess how many pounds of trash each person generally generates in a day's time in America? How many pounds of trash do you think? Anybody?
10.
Who said 4? You win the prize! The answer is 4 pounds of trash a day. Do the math. That's a lot of trash at the end of a year that one person has generated in our society, and where is all of that going? Another alarming statistic for me is 75% of those 4 pounds is recyclable. That's the good news. Guess how much of that gets recycled by Americans in general? 30%. So it's a little higher than 15, but not 75%. So not everything that is recyclable is getting recycled. In 1 year alone, the amount of glass that gets thrown in the trash could fill up a skyscraper in 1 year's time. And yet 100% of that glass is recyclable. 1 aluminum can. Guess how many hours of electricity you could watch television with 1 aluminum can getting recycled? in time, how many minutes, hours do you think you could watch TV on one recycled aluminum can?
Chickens here.
Two? Pretty good guess, 2 hours, I'm assuming, or 2 minutes? 2 hours, okay. Anybody else want to throw a number in the hat? 3 hours. Bingo! You win the prize. It is 3 hours. But isn't that interesting? One aluminum can generate 3 hours of electricity, enough to watch television for 3 hours. To save one tree, guess how much paper by inches, feet, that you would have to recycle to save just one tree? Somebody said a bunch. A bunch. How much a bunch? 100 pounds? 500 pounds? Do you know you can save one tree by recycling only a 3-foot stack of paper? A 3-foot stack of paper. I get that in my trash bin almost, I don't know, maybe every week, every other week, by the time I recycle my newspaper, my junk mail, the things that I don't even want to get, that people send me anyway, all those magazines that people send me that I don't want. 3-foot stack can save one tree. So it really is incredible when you think about the impact that recycling has on our earth, and if we have a healthy earth, we will have healthier people on that planet, right? Because the more that we pollute our earth, you know, the sicker we're going to be. It's just the reality. The more we keep dumping things into our oceans and dumping things in our soil and dumping things in our air, we breathe it, we eat it, we drink it, some way or another. So keeping our earth healthy really has a major impact. So I mean, I personally believe that we've done a good job of making recycling very accessible. Who here can tell me where you can find a recycle bin in White County?
6th Street.
6th Street, North 6th Street. They got that big place now. Yeah, very nice. Where else? Reynolds. Where else? Wolcott. Okay. Anybody live north? Anybody go to Buffalo? There's some up there too. So really, they've made it easy. You do have to collect it if you're like me, living outside the city limits. You got to collect it for yourself, and you got to haul it there. But they've made it really easy because it's pretty accessible to get your recycling done. So let's talk about all the things you can recycle. Shout them out. I'm not hearing shouting. Shout it out. Newspaper.
Magazine.
Magazine. Plastic. Glass. Cans. Plastic bags. You guys are doing good. Cardboard, kind of goes with paper. Plastic. Magazines, kind of goes with paper. Junk mail, kind of goes with paper.
I don't know if you really call this recycling, but I'm a woodworker, and I recycle all my wood by chipping it and shaving it and giving it to, selling it to, giving it to rabbit and chicken growth.
That is awesome. So he takes all of his wood shavings from his woodworking and reuses it and gives it another purpose, gives it to people that have rabbits and other critters that like that kind of bedding. So exactly, reusing something is so important. Exactly. Composting. Who here composts? Potato peels, carrot peels, banana peels.
I used to when I had a garden.
We're used to when you have a garden, that's right. It's great benefit for your garden, isn't it? And so it is healthy to put all of that stuff back into the earth and not necessarily put it in the trash. So if you've got a place to do it, that's a great way to do it. We're hopefully going to be opening up a community composting pile that people can actually bring their stuff to. So it's, so that we can have a common place to put things so that you can feel like you're contributing that way as well. But back to recycling. Who recycles batteries or electronics, rubber tires, paint? I mean, all of those things are technically recyclable and reusable if you take them to the recycle center on their special days where they have all those special pickups. So great stuff that we can all recycle and all get a benefit from. Kind of another alarming fact. If you throw away an aluminum can, guess how many years it is still identifiable as an aluminum can? 100? Anybody else?
No, I've got pants that are older than that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They're still on your shelf.
Yeah, exactly. You're still taking care of it. If you throw away an aluminum can, it is speculated, because I even, one of the kids at the Boys and Girls Club said, well, how do they know that? And it's actually a pretty good question, because they didn't have aluminum cans 500 years ago, but the answer is 500 years. So it's still going to look like a aluminum can 500 years from now in a landfill. And sure, eventually it will oxidize, it will break down if you've ever had aluminum and how it does kind of crumbles, but it's going to take that long. What about styrofoam? How long is it going to take styrofoam to decompose?
Does anybody know?
Yeah, exactly. The answer is never, I think. As far as my research says, never. It's going to still be styrofoam, and we use a lot of styrofoam, don't we? I really applaud McDonald's for getting rid of their styrofoam cups. Because they weren't recyclable, they were going to the landfill, and they were going to be there for, indefinitely in that landfill as a McDonald's styrofoam cup. So at least now they're using something that you can recycle, that plastic cup. But you're right, we use a lot of styrofoam that can't get recycled. So what things can you do about supporting kind of a healthy earth? What are some choices you can make? Nobody can think of a choice you can make? What about when you go to the store? You've got an option to buy something in glass or plastic or aluminum. Do you choose one of their, all those three things happen to be recyclable. So let's say it's a container that isn't recyclable. Like hairspray, for instance, that comes in one of those cans.
Aerosol.
Right, aerosol. Exactly, that's what I was trying to think of. So you could buy it in plastic, buy the same product in a different container that is healthier for the earth, right? You could buy something in, in a container that is recyclable, something that's easy for you to recycle. Sometimes not all things are easy. Sometimes you've got a plastic number that maybe our local landfill won't take. So I find when I go to the store, I look at that. I look at the product I want, and then I look to see what kind of container it's in so that I can make a healthy choice also based on the container. I personally buy a lot of stuff in glass because I believe the stuff in glass is better for you than the stuff in plastic. So if I have a choice, I buy it in glass. But by golly, that glass gets recycled. How many times can you recycle a glass jar? Forever. Indefinite number of times that you can recycle glass. What about how many times can you recycle an aluminum can? Forever. It's an indefinite as well. So those are great things and great choices to think about, as long as it ends up in the right place, as long as it ends up at the recycle center. Questions about anything about recycling, Earth Day, composting? Any questions? Because then I'm going to put you on our next task.
Where do you take your shredded paper?
Where do you take shredded paper? They'll take it at the recycle center. Shredded paper. I mean, it's paper. So as long as it's a paper product, you can put it in the paper bin at the recycle center. Yeah. Somebody had a question for me at the Boys and Girls Club. What do you do with those hard plastic lids on containers? They tell you to remove your plastic lids. What do you do with those plastic lids?
Pam takes them.
To where?
We're doing for the girls. They're making tables and benches for them.
Awesome. my thing was gonna be, you're right, find a local cause that will take those. Riley Children's Hospital will take all of those hard plastic lids. And they find a way to reuse them, recycle them, get money for them. So you just gotta find a worthy cause that'll take them. Because when you take them down to the recycle center, they want you to have them off. So, another great idea. So now if you all would do me the favor, I'm gonna go ahead and pause this. You don't need to